Proportions. Proportions are statements that two ratios are equal, comparing two quantities by division. Example: one recipe calls for 3 cups of flour for every 2 cups of sugar. You want to make a smaller portion using 1 cup of sugar. How many cups of flour are needed for 1 single cup of sugar? Here, on the left, we have 2 cups of sugar, and on the right, we have 3 cups of flour. We want to make a smaller portion using a single cup of sugar. So here on the left, I put a cup of sugar, and on the right, I indicated with a question mark the number of cups of flour we will need that we still don't know and need to find out. On the left, I have the proportion of the original recipe that called for 3 cups of flour and 2 cups of sugar. On the right, I have the proportion for the recipe that uses a single cup of sugar. Here we have written 2 over 3 equal to 1 over x. We want to find out the value of that x. The x represents the number of cups of flour needed for a single cup of sugar. Cross multiplication. Cross multiplication is a method used to solve proportions, multiplying the numerator of one ratio by the denominator of the other and setting the products equal. So we want to multiply A times D and B times C. So what we need to do to find out the number of cups of flour is cross multiplication. Multiply 2 and x together and 1 and 3 together. Before we do that, we can rewrite the proportion like this. Note that instead of the equal sign, we can also use a double column, although this notation is less used. What we do is multiply the means and extremes together. The extremes, as the word implies, are at the ends of the proportion, while the means are those closest to the equal sign. So the extremes are 2 and x, and the means are 3 and 1. So let's multiply the extremes and the means together. 2 times x and 1 times 3. We got 2x equals 3. We need to isolate x by eliminating the coefficient 2 that multiplies it. Remember, even if the multiplication sign isn't shown, the term 2x means that 2 is multiplied by x. We need to remove the 2 to find out the value of x. To do this, we need to divide both sides of the equation by 2. This is an equation, which means that the values on one side must correspond to those on the other. If we do an operation on one side, we must also do it on the other to maintain the equality of the equation. We divided both 2x and 3 by 2. The these 2's, are simplified, leaving only x, while here we have 3 over 2. So x is equal to 3 over 2. By dividing 3 and 2, we get 1.5. Thus, the value of x is 1.5. So we will need 1.5 cups of flour if we want to use a single cup of sugar, on the left, the original proportion, and on the right, the proportion that uses a single cup of sugar. So if we use 1 cup of sugar, we're going to need 1/2 cups of flour.